The trees leaned toward her. The river stilled to listen. Even the stars seemed to brighten, Lena cried. Not from sadness. From joy, you see, Nora, she said. Your song was never broken. It was just waiting for safe ground. Nora looked at her. Will you help me go back? Lena knew what she meant. The nebula of veils was far. Dangerous. The silence still lived there, but she also knew the spark did not grow in comfort. It grew in courage. Yes, she said. They prepared quietly. Vera gathered the fleet, not for war, for witness, for support. The purifiers volunteered to guard the edges of the nebula. The people of Alara sent woven charms for protection. The child who once sang in the square sent a small flute carved from silver grass. Nora held it like a treasure. They flew for 12 cycles. The stars grew strange. Colors shifted. Space bent in ways that made the mind ache. Then they saw it, the nebula of veils. A swirl of purple and silver gas, beautiful and broken. Inside, cities hung like dead birds, silent, dark. Nora's hands shook. Lena took them. We go together. They landed on the central spire, the highest point of the Letheri capital. Once it sang the note of dawn. Now it was quiet. Nora stepped onto the platform. The wind howled through empty windows. She closed her eyes and she began to sing. Not loudly, not perfectly, but honestly, she sang of loss, of fear, of finding hands in the dark, of a flower that bloomed in a green valley, of a friend who said, "You are not alone." At first, nothing happened. Then a single chime rang out, from a broken bell on a distant tower. Nora kept singing. Another note joined. Then another. Not from her, from the city itself. The walls remembered. The bridges remembered. The stones remembered. Light returned, not bright, but growing. In the shadows, figures stirred. Letheri. Thin, hollow-eyed, but alive. They had hidden. Not in caves, but in silence, waiting for someone to remind them they were worth remembering. Nora walked toward them. She did not demand. She offered her hand, and her song. One by one, they joined her. The spark in Lena's chest swelled, not with power, with connection. But then the air turned cold. The Hollow King was here, not as a tear in space, but as a voice in their minds. You are fools. Your song is noise. Your hope is dust, Nora faltered. The light dimmed. Lena stepped forward. No, our song is real, because we feel it, because we choose it. She reached for the spark, and she did not shine it outward. She shared it inward, with Nora, with the Letheri, with every being who had ever felt alone. The Hollow King screamed, not in sound, but in rage. He could not stand the weight of so many hearts beating together. The nebula flared with light. The city sang again. Not the old songs, new ones, born of pain and healing. The Hollow King did not vanish, but he retreated, deeper into the void, wounded by unity. When it was over, Nora stood surrounded by her people, tears on every face, songs on every tongue. Lena turned to leave. Nora grabbed her hand. Stay. Lena shook her head. My place is not here. It is wherever the spark is needed. Nora understood. She pressed the silver flute into Lena's palm. So you never forget our song. Lena hugged her. I never will. On the ship, Vera waited. You gave them back their voice. Lena looked at the nebula, now glowing with soft music. I just reminded them they never lost it. They sailed home. Not to Kalen, not yet. The spark tugged her elsewhere. To a frozen moon where miners had forgotten how to dream. To a desert world where water was traded like gold and kindness was rare. To places small and forgotten. Lena went to them all. She did not fix everything. She could not. But she lit one candle in each dark place, and candles, when shared, make more light. Years passed. Her hair grew streaked with silver. Her steps slowed, but her eyes stayed bright. The spark never dimmed. Vera aged too. Their bond deepened not with words, but with silence that held love. One day, on a quiet hill overlooking Kalen's valley, Lena sat beneath a tree grown from the heartseed's first leaf. Children played nearby. Their laughter mixed with birdsong. Vera joined her. You look tired, Lena smiled. I am, but it is a good tired. You have done enough. Lena watched a butterfly land on her hand. Its wings shimmered with the same light as the heartseed. Maybe. But the work is not mine alone anymore. It belongs to all of them. She pointed to the children, to the farmers in the field, to the Letheri singer visiting from the nebula, to the purifier teaching Zenthari youth how to listen. The spark had spread, not as a flame but as embers carried on the wind. That night, under twin moons, Lena closed her eyes and sang one last time, not a song of battle or sorrow, a lullaby. For the universe, for all the lost and found. The spark in her chest glowed brighter than ever. Then gently it lifted from her body, not leaving but returning, flowing into the earth, the air, the stars, into every heart that had learned to beat with hope. Vera held her as she took her last breath. There were no tears, only peace, because Lena was not gone. She was everywhere the song played, and the song would never end. Lena stood in the dust of a dead world. The wind blew hot and dry across the ruins of New Haven Colony. Buildings that once hummed with life now lay in broken silence. Glass crunched under her boots. Smoke curled from distant fires. She had not seen another living person in 3 days. Her throat was raw from thirst. Her stomach ached with hunger. But she kept moving. She did not know why. Maybe because stopping meant giving up, and giving up meant joining the still figures wrapped in scorched blankets along the roadside. She had been in the filtration tunnels when the sky split open. Alarms screamed. Lights flickered. Then came the shaking, deep and violent like the planet itself was dying. She stayed hidden, curled in a maintenance closet with a half-empty canteen and a photo of her parents. When she finally crawled out, everything was gone, not just damaged. Gone. Erased. Now she walked without direction, her mind numb, her body on autopilot. She passed the school where she once taught kids how to grow lettuce in zero-G trays. She passed the clinic where Dr. Ellis stitched her knee after a fall, all empty, all quiet. Then she saw them. Figures in silver armor stood in the center of the plaza. Tall, still, unmoving. Their skin shimmered like wet stone under moonlight. Their eyes glowed a soft blue. They carried no weapons. They made no sound. They simply waited. Lena froze. Her breath caught. These were the Zenthari, the alien fleet that had appeared in orbit just before the bombardment. Everyone said they were the enemy, that they came to claim Viridia Prime for themselves, that they burned human colonies without mercy. She should have run. She should have ducked behind a wall. But her legs would not obey. She stood there, exposed, waiting for death. Then a figure stepped forward from the center of the group. This one was taller. Her armor was black, edged with gold that pulsed like a slow heartbeat. A crown of light floated above her brow, shifting like smoke caught in starlight. Her face was sharp, elegant, ageless. Her eyes held galaxies. The alien queen. Lena braced herself. She closed her eyes. She thought of her mother's voice singing lullabies. She thought of her father's hands, rough from work but gentle when he fixed her toys. But no blast came. No pain. No darkness. She opened her eyes. The queen was kneeling. Not bowing. Not nodding. Fully kneeling. One knee on the cracked stone. Head bowed low. Palms turned upward in a gesture of surrender, of reverence. Lena stared. Her heart pounded so hard she thought it might break her ribs. This made no sense. She was Lena Mills, 24 years old, hydroponics tech level 2. No military rank. No special training, no fame. She had never left Viridia Prime. She had never done anything worth remembering. Why would a conqueror kneel to her? The other Zenthari followed. As one, they dropped to one knee. The sound was soft, metal on stone, but it echoed like thunder in the silence. The wind stilled. Even the distant crackle of fires seemed to hush. Lena took a step back, then another. Her mind spun. Was this a ritual before execution? Maybe they needed a sacrifice. Maybe she was it. But the queen lifted her head. Her eyes met Lena's. There was no cruelty there, only awe. And something deeper, recognition. You are the one, the queen said. Her voice was calm, clear, and carried without effort across the empty square. The one foretold. Lena shook her head. You're wrong. I'm nobody. Just a colonist. I fix irrigation lines and check nutrient levels. That's all? The queen rose slowly. She moved like water flowing over stone, smooth, inevitable. She stepped closer. Lena did not move. She could not. The queen's presence filled the air like warmth from a hearth on a cold night. In our oldest texts it is written that when the veil between worlds grows thin, the child of two skies will walk among us, born of human flesh yet carrying the spark of the first light. The queen's voice softened. We have waited 10,000 cycles. We thought the prophecy lost. But then your birth star aligned with ours. We felt the resonance in our bones. Lena frowned. My parents were just regular people. My mom grew strawberries in Greenhouse 3. My dad repaired solar arrays. They weren't special. Perhaps they did not know, the Queen said gently. But the spark does not ask permission. It simply is. Lena looked around at the ruins, at the charred remains of her home, her friends, her life. Anger rose in her chest like hot steam. If I'm so important, why did you burn everything? Why did you kill them? The Queen's expression darkened. We did not. Our fleet arrived too late. The real enemy struck first. Lena blinked. What enemy? The Void Weavers, ancient beings who feed on civilizations at their peak. They wear the faces of conquerors. They destroy not for land or power, but to silence the song of rising species. The Xanthari have fought them for millennia. We traced their signal here. We came to protect you. Lena's knees trembled. She leaned against a broken wall for support. So you didn't do this, no? We mourn with you. The Queen stepped forward and gently took Lena's hand. Your people's song was bright. It reached across the stars. That is why the Weavers came, and that is why you survived. The spark within you shielded you, even if you did not know it. Lena looked down at her own hands. They were dirty, scraped, shaking. She felt nothing special. No power, no light, just exhaustion and grief. What do I do now? She whispered. The Queen's grip tightened slightly. You come with us. The Void Weavers will return. They always do. They will sense the spark is still alive. You must learn what you are. You must become what you were meant to be. Lena thought of her mother's laugh, of her father teaching her how to graft tomato vines under the twin suns, of friends who shared meals and stories under the stars. All gone. Because of something she did not understand. And if I say nothing, the Weavers will find you. And this time there will be no one to stop them. Not even us. Lena closed her eyes. The wind picked up again, carrying the scent of ash and ozone. She thought of running, of hiding in the tunnels forever. But she knew it would not last. The enemy would come, and more would die. She opened her eyes and met the Queen's gaze. Okay, she said. The Queen nodded. She raised her hand. High above, a ship descended from the clouds, sleek, silent, its surface shifting like living metal. It landed without sound in the center of the plaza. As they walked toward it, Lena looked back one last time at the ruins of New Haven, at the life she had known. She did not feel brave. She did not feel chosen. She only felt tired. But as she stepped onto the ramp of the alien ship, something changed. A warmth spread through her chest. Faint at first, then stronger, like sunlight breaking through storm clouds. For the first time in days, she did not feel alone. Inside, the walls glowed softly. The air smelled of rain and something sweet, like night-blooming flowers. The Queen led her to a chamber with a wide window showing the stars. You will learn quickly, the Queen said. The spark responds to need, to love, to loss. You have known all three. Lena touched the cool glass. The stars looked different now. Closer, as if they were watching her. Who was I really? She asked. The Queen placed a hand on her shoulder. You are the bridge, the hope, the next note in the song that never ends. Lena did not understand, not yet. But she felt something stir inside her, a quiet hum, a pulse, like a second heartbeat. Outside, the ship lifted into the sky. The ruins of Viridia Prime shrank below. The orange haze gave way to the black velvet of space. And for the first time, Lena saw the stars not as distant lights, but as voices waiting to be heard. Days passed. The Xanthari did not speak much, but they cared for her. They gave her clean clothes, warm food, quiet spaces to rest. The Queen visited often, always calm, always patient. One evening, she led Lena to a circular room filled with liquid light. This is the memory pool, the Queen said. It will show you what you are. Lena hesitated. What if I don't like what I see? Truth is never easy, but it is necessary. Lena stepped in. The liquid did not wet her. It wrapped around her like a second skin. Images flooded her mind, not as pictures, but as feelings. She saw the Xanthari's first city, built on a moon of crystal rivers. She saw their wars against shadow beings that devoured light. She saw children laughing in gardens of singing trees, and she saw herself, not as Lena Mills, but as a presence, a light that appeared in times of darkness, a thread connecting worlds, a guardian. When she emerged, tears streamed down her face. Was that real, she asked. It was your soul's memory, the queen said. You have lived many lives. This is only the latest. Lena sat on the floor, trembling. I don't know if I can do this. You already are, the queen said. You just don't know it yet. Lena looked out the window again. A nebula swirled in the distance, pink and gold like a blooming flower. I miss home, she whispered. Home is not a place, the queen said softly. It is a purpose, and yours has just begun. The ship sailed through the void like a thought through silence. Lena sat by the observation window, watching stars blur into streaks of silver. Weeks had passed since she left Viridia Prime, yet time felt strange here, stretched thin like old cloth. She no longer counted days. She measured them in dreams and lessons. The Zenthari did not teach with words alone. They taught with light, with memory, with feeling. The queen visited her every cycle. Her name was Vera, though she had not spoken it until the third week. Names, she explained, were sacred among her people, given only when trust was earned. Lena had earned it. Then they saw it. A ring, not made of metal or stone, but of memory. Floating in the void, it circled a dead star that gave no light. The ring shimmered with faces, thousands of them. Human, Zenthari, species Lena had never seen. All looking out, eyes wide with sorrow, with hope, with waiting. What is that, she whispered. The first echo, Vera said. The place where the song began. Lena's breath caught. The texts spoke of it. A place built by the first united civilizations before the Great Silence. A library not of books but of souls. A beacon meant to guide lost worlds back to each other. The Void Weavers tried to destroy it. But you cannot destroy memory. Only hide it. They landed on a platform of woven light that appeared as they neared. The air here had no scent, no sound, no weight. Time felt soft, like cloth left in the sun too long. Lena stepped onto the ring. The moment her foot touched its surface, voices rose, not in her ears, but in her bones. Laughter, crying, singing, arguing, loving, all the sounds of life, layered like petals in a flower. She walked forward. The faces in the ring turned to her. Some smiled, some wept. One reached out a hand made of starlight. It's okay, Lena said, though she did not know who she was comforting. In the center of the ring stood a pedestal. On it rested a single seed, black as night, warm as skin. It pulsed once as she approached. That is the heart seed, Vera said, the last piece of the original song. It will only grow where unity is real, not forced, not pretended. Real. Lena reached for it, but her hand stopped inches away. What if I'm not ready? You have carried the spark through fire and silence, through doubt and grief, through enemies and allies. You are ready. Lena closed her eyes. She thought of Viridia, of Ilaris, of the purifier who wept when he remembered his grandmother's song. She thought of her parents who loved across species and gave their lives so she could live free. She thought of the child who sang with her in the square. She opened her eyes and took the seed. It did not burn. It did not glow. It simply fit in her palm like it had always belonged there. As she held it, the ring began to sing. Not one voice, many. All together, the sound filled the void, pushing back the hungry silence. Stars flickered back to life in the distance. The dead star at the center warmed just a little. But then the air changed. A shadow fell over the ring. Not from above, from within. The faces in the ring flickered. Some twisted. Some screamed silently. The song broke into dissonance. They are here, Vera said. Not ships, not armies. Just a presence. Cold, sharp, ancient. The source of the Void Weavers. The silence behind the silence. The one the old text called the Hollow King. He did not speak. He simply was, and his being said one thing. Nothing matters. Lena's knees weakened. The seed grew heavy. The spark inside her dimmed. Vera stepped in front of her. Go, Lena, plant the seed. We will hold the line. Lena shook her head. I can't leave you, you must. The heart seed needs living soil. Not memory. Life. Lena looked at the faces in the ring. At the broken song. At the fading light. She turned and ran, not away. Toward the edge of the ring. Toward the ship. Toward hope. Behind her, the Zenthari formed a circle. They did not raise weapons. They raised their voices. They sang the oldest song, the one before words. The one that said, we are here. We are together. The Hollow King pushed against it. The ring cracked. Light bled out like blood. Lena reached the ship. She did not stop. She flew to the nearest living world on their charts, a young planet called Kalen, covered in forests and oceans, untouched by war, unaware of the storm coming. She landed in a green valley. The air smelled of pine and wet earth. Birds called from the trees. A river ran clear and cold. She knelt, dug a small hole with her hands, placed the heart seed inside, covered it with soil. Then she put her palms on the ground and sang, not a battle cry, a lullaby. The spark poured from her, not as fire but as roots. It spread through the soil, through the water, through the air. The trees swayed. The river glowed. Flowers bloomed in seconds. The Hollow King felt it. He came not in a ship but as a tear in reality. The sky above Kalen split open. Darkness poured out. Birds fell silent. The river stilled. Lena stood. She did not fight. She opened her arms. You cannot unmake love, she said. You can only forget it, and I remember. The Hollow King reached for her. His touch was not cold. It was empty. It tried to pull the spark from her chest. But the spark was not hers alone. It was shared with Vera, with the child on Alaris, with the purifier who wept, with every life she had touched, and they answered. From across the stars, voices rose, not loud but together, a chorus of remembrance. The ring sang again. The Zenthari fleet glowed. Even the trees on Kalen hummed. The Hollow King recoiled. For the first time in eternity, he felt something, not pain, presence. It hurt him more than fire ever could. He did not die. He could not. But he shrank, folded in on himself. The tear in the sky closed. The darkness faded. The heartseed sprouted. A single stem pushed through the soil. Then leaves. Then a flower with petals of light. It bloomed slowly, filling the valley with warmth. Lena fell to her knees, exhausted, but smiling. Vera appeared beside her, battered but alive. You did it. We did it, Lena said. In the days that followed, Kalen changed. The flower's light spread. Animals grew calmer. Plants grew faster. People who came to the valley spoke of feeling whole for the first time. Lena stayed, not as a queen, not as a hero, as a gardener. She taught them how to listen to the spark in themselves, how to share without fear, how to remember even when it hurt. Vera remained with her. The fleet became a circle of watchful stars above. One evening, as the twin moons rose, Lena sat by the flower. It glowed softly, pulsing with the rhythm of many hearts. Do you think it's over? She asked. Vera sat beside her. The Hollow King is gone for now, but silence will always return. As long as there is fear, there will be forgetting. Then we will keep remembering. Yes. Lena looked up at the stars. They were no longer distant. They were neighbors, friends, family. She was no longer just Lena Mills of Viridia Prime. She was part of something bigger, a song that had no end, and as long as one voice sang, the darkness would never win. The spark in her chest hummed. Steady, sure, alive. And she sang with it. Time passed like water over smooth stone. Lena lived in the valley of Kalen, near the heartseed flower that never stopped blooming. Its light touched everything. Trees grew taller, rivers ran clearer, and people walked with their heads a little higher. They did not call her queen or savior. They called her friend, sometimes teacher, mostly just Lena. She wore simple clothes now, woven from local fibers dyed with berry juice. Her hands were calloused from planting, not fighting. She taught children how to listen to the wind, how to feel the spark in their own chests, how to share without keeping score. She did not preach. She showed. By living, Vera stayed too. She built a small home of living wood beside Lena's. She no longer wore her crown of light. She said she did not need it here. Peace was crown enough. But peace is never still. One morning, a ship landed at the edge of the valley. Not Zenthari. Not human. Something new. Small. Battered. Its hull was patched with mismatched metal. It looked like it had run for a long time. Lena walked out to meet it. Vera followed a few steps behind. The ramp lowered. A figure stepped out. Short. Thin. Wrapped in a cloak too big for her frame. Her skin was pale blue. Her eyes large and dark like deep water. She trembled as she walked. Lena stopped a few feet away. You are safe here, she said. The girl fell to her knees. Tears streamed down her face. They are gone, she whispered. All of them. Lena knelt and took her hands. Who are you? My name is Nora. I am the last of the Lithari. Vera's breath caught. The Lithari were singers. Their voices could mend broken stars. They lived in the nebula of veils, far beyond known space. They had no weapons. Only song. What happened? Lena asked gently. The silence came. Not like before. Not with ships or shadows. It came inside us. Made us turn on each other. Made us forget our own names. I hid in the echo caves. When I came out, no one was left. Only silence. Lena felt the spark in her chest ache. This was the Hollow King's work again. Not by force, but by poison. He was learning. Growing quieter. Sharper. You are not alone. Nora, Lena said. You found us. Nora looked up. Her eyes were full of fear. And shame. I tried to sing, but my voice broke. I'm not worthy. Lena shook her head. Worth is not earned by perfection. It is given by being here. By trying. She led Nora to the heartseed flower. Its light washed over the girl. For the first time in weeks, Nora took a full breath. That night, Lena sat with her by the river. The stars above were bright. The air was soft. Tell me about your home, Lena said. Nora closed her eyes. Our cities floated in the clouds of veils. We built them from sound. Every wall hummed a note. Every bridge sang a chord. We did not speak much, we sang. Even our names were melodies. Lena smiled. That sounds beautiful. It was, until the silence came. It started as a whisper in dreams. Your song is wrong. Then louder. You are alone. Then, nothing. You still have your voice, Nora. Nora shook her head. It cracks. It fails. Then we will help it heal. Over the next days, Lena did not push. She simply lived beside Nora. They planted seeds. They walked in the forest. They sat in silence. Slowly, Nora began to hum. Softly at first, then louder. One evening, as the heartseed flower pulsed with golden light, Nora sang. Not a full song, just 3 notes, clear. True, full of sorrow and hope. Lena opened her eyes. For what? For the next world. The one that forgot how to hope. Lena stood. Where are we going? A planet called Alaris, once rich with life. Now silent. The Void Weavers passed through there 3 cycles ago. They did not burn it. They did not shatter it. They made its people forget why they mattered. How do you forget that? By erasing joy, by turning love into duty, by making every sunrise feel like a burden. The Weavers do not always destroy with fire. Sometimes they destroy with gray. Lena looked out the window. A blue-green world hung in the distance, wrapped in soft clouds. It looked peaceful, but she could feel it, the dull ache beneath its surface, like a song played on broken strings. They landed in a field of tall silver grass. The air smelled sweet like honey and rain, but the village ahead was quiet. No children ran, no voices called. People moved slowly, eyes down, faces blank. They wore clean clothes, but their steps had no rhythm, no life. Lena stepped forward. A woman passed by carrying a basket of fruit. Her eyes met Lena's for a second. Then she looked away. No greeting, no curiosity. They see us, but they do not see us, Vera said softly. Lena walked into the village square. A fountain stood dry in the center. Benches sat empty. A small dog lay curled near a door, too tired to bark. She sat on the edge of the fountain and closed her eyes. She reached for the spark. Not to shine it outward, but to listen, to feel the shape of the wound. Images came. Not sharp, but foggy. A festival once held here, music, dancing, lanterns floating into the sky. Laughter echoing off stone walls. Then the shadow came. Not a ship. Not a weapon. Just a whisper in the wind that said, nothing matters. And slowly the people believed it. Lena opened her eyes. We have to remind them. How be showing them what they lost? Lena stood. She walked to the center of the square. She took a deep breath. And she began to hum. Not a song from Viridia. Not a Zenthari chant. Just a simple tune her mother used to sing while watering plants. Soft, steady, full of care. At first, nothing happened. The villagers kept walking. The wind kept blowing. The dog did not move. But Lena kept humming. After a few minutes, a child peeked from a doorway, no older than 6. Eyes wide, head tilted. She took 1 step forward, then another. Lena smiled. She changed the hum into words, not loud, just enough to carry. Sunrise warms the soil, rain wakes every seed, hands that plant with patience, grow the world we need. The child stopped. Her lips moved, trying to copy the words. An old man on a bench turned his head. His fingers twitched. Lena kept singing. She added more verses. About shared meals, about mending fences, about holding someone's hand when they cry. Simple things. Real things. The spark in her chest glowed softly, not bright like in battle. Gentle, like a candle in a window on a cold night. One by one, people stopped. They did not cheer. They did not cry. But they listened. And in their eyes something flickered. Not much. Just a spark of their own. The child began to sing with her. Her voice was shaky but true. Others joined. A woman humming while rocking a baby. A boy tapping his foot on the stone. The old man whispered the words like a prayer he had almost forgotten. The fountain behind Lena gurgled. Water rose from its basin, clear and cool. It had been dry for years. Vera watched from the edge of the square. Her eyes shone with pride. This was not conquest. This was return. By nightfall, the village was alive again. Not with noise, but with presence. People sat together. Shared food. Told stories. The dog barked at a moth. Laughter rang out. Soft at first, then stronger. Lena sat by the fountain, tired but full. The child curled up beside her, asleep. You did not fight? Vera said, sitting next to her. You remembered for them. Lena nodded. Sometimes that's enough. They stayed 3 days. Lena walked through fields with farmers, helped mend roofs, listened to elders speak of old songs. She did not preach. She simply lived among them. And in doing so, she reminded them how to live too. On the 4th morning, the village gathered to say goodbye. They gave her a woven bracelet made of silver grass and blue thread, a symbol of remembrance. Thank you, the child said, hugging her. Lena hugged her back. Never forget your song. As the ship rose into the sky, Lena watched Alaris shrink below. Lights glowed in the windows now. Not just from lamps, but from lives being lived. But peace did not last long. On the 7th cycle, alarms pulsed through the ship. Not loud, but urgent. Vera appeared at Lena's door, her face grim. They found us. Lena's stomach dropped. The Weavers worse. A splinter faction of Zenthari. Those who believe the spark should be controlled, not shared. They call themselves the Purifiers. They think only the Zenthari deserve to carry the light. They see you as a threat. Lena frowned. But I'm not their enemy. To them, anything that blurs the line between species is dangerous. They fear unity, because unity means they are not special. The ship shuddered. Outside, 3 black vessels dropped from warp. Sleek, sharp, armed with weapons that did not kill but severed connection. They fired beams that cut the spark's link to others, leaving the target alive but utterly alone. We cannot fight them, Vera said. If we do, we become what they are. Then what do we do? Lena looked at her hands, at the bracelet from Alaris, at the memory of the child's voice. We show them what they've lost. She walked to the command deck. The purifier ships hovered close, weapons charged. Open a channel, Lena said. Vera hesitated. They will not listen. Maybe not, but I have to try. The screen flickered. A Zenthari male appeared. His face was hard, his eyes cold. His armor bore no gold, only black. Traitor, he said. You mix human weakness with our light. You dilute the purity. Lena met his gaze. Is light weaker when it shines on more world silence? Your ancestors once walked with humans. You know this. The great harmony was real. The Weavers broke it. Not us. The Purifier's jaw tightened. That was before the fall. Before we learned that trust is a wound. Lena stepped closer to the screen. I buried my home. I watched my people erased. I could have chosen hate, but I chose to remember love. Isn't that strength for a moment? His eyes flickered. Just a fraction. But Lena saw it. He looked away. Fire. The beams lanced out. Lena did not dodge. She closed her eyes. And instead of shielding herself, she reached out. With the spark. Not to attack, but to share. She sent them a memory. Not hers. Theirs. The memory of the first Zenthari who held a human child. The first shared meal under alien stars. The first song sung in 2 languages. The joy of discovery. The peace of understanding. The beams faltered. On the screen, the purifier gasped. His hand flew to his chest. Tears welled in his eyes. No, he whispered. We were taught that never happened. It did, Lena said gently. And it can again. The other ships powered down. The lead vessel drifted closer. The purifier stepped onto the Zenthari ship alone. He knelt not in worship but in sorrow. "Forgive us," he said. "We were afraid of becoming small, so we made others smaller." Vera placed a hand on his shoulder. "You were never small. You only forgot your size." Lena helped him rise. Together they stood on the observation deck watching the stars. "The spark is not a weapon," she said. "It is a bridge, and bridges are meant to be walked on by everyone." In the weeks that followed, the purifiers joined the fleet, not as soldiers but as students. They learned from Alaris. They listened to human songs. They remembered their own forgotten lullabies. Lena did not lead them. She walked beside them. One night, Vera found her on the deck staring at a distant nebula. "Do you ever wonder if it's enough?" she asked. Lena smiled. "I used to. Now I know it's not about being enough. It's about being here now with an open heart." Vera nodded. "That is the hardest thing. And the most powerful." The ship sailed on, toward more broken worlds, more silent villages, more hearts waiting to remember. Lena was no longer just a girl from Viridia. She was not just a symbol. She was a presence, a reminder that even in the deepest gray, a single note of song can bring back the color. And as long as she breathed, she would keep singing. The ship moved through the dark like a breath through still air. Lena stood at the edge of the observation deck, her fingers resting on the cool glass. Outside, the stars were quiet. Too quiet. She had learned to feel the difference. Some silences were peaceful. Others were hungry. This one felt like the calm before a storm that had no name. Vera joined her without sound. "You feel it too," she said. Lena nodded. "Something is coming. Not the weavers. Not the purifiers. Something older." The spark inside her hummed low like a warning bell wrapped in velvet. It did not flare with fear. It pulsed with recognition, as if it knew what approached long before her mind could name it. They changed course without speaking. The fleet followed, a silent school of silver fish in an endless sea. Days passed, then weeks. The stars grew fewer. The space between them stretched thin like old skin over bone. Today Vera brought a small orb of swirling blue mist. "This is a resonance stone," she said. "It will help you hear the spark inside you." Lena took it. The moment her fingers touched its surface, warmth spread up her arm. Not heat, something gentler, like being wrapped in a blanket woven from starlight. Images flickered behind her eyes. A forest of crystal trees, a city floating on clouds, a child laughing under twin suns that were not Viridia's. "That child was me," Lena whispered. "In another life?" "Yes," Vera said. "The spark does not die. It returns, always seeking balance, always seeking light." Lena closed her hand around the stone. "Why me? Why not someone stronger, smarter, someone who knew how to fight?" "Because strength is not only in muscle," Vera replied, "and wisdom is not only in age. The spark chooses those who feel deeply, who love without condition, who grieve but still rise. You buried your parents with your own hands. You shared your last water with a stranger during the drought of cycle 42. You sang to the hydroponic seedlings so they would grow faster. These are not small things, Lena. They are the roots of courage." Lena looked away. "I still don't feel like a hero." "You are not meant to be a hero," Vera said gently. "You are meant to be a bridge." The Void Weavers fear bridges. They thrive on isolation, on fear, on silence. But you carry song. Even now, even in your sorrow, your soul hums. That night, Lena dreamed of fire. Not the fire that destroyed New Haven, but a clean white flame that burned without consuming. It rose from her chest and spread across the stars. Where it touched, broken ships mended, dead worlds bloomed, and lost voices found their way home. She woke gasping, her skin glowing faintly. Vera was already at her door. "It has begun," she said. "What has your awakening?" They took her to the heart chamber, a vast dome at the center of the ship where the walls pulsed like a living heart. Here the air hummed with energy. Zenthari elders stood in a circle, their eyes closed, their hands raised. In the center floated a sphere of pure light. "Step into it," Vera said. Lena hesitated. "What will it do?" "It will show you the truth of your origin." Lena walked forward. The light did not burn. It embraced her. Suddenly she was not on the ship anymore. She stood on a world of white sand and violet skies. Two figures stood before her, a man and a woman. Human, but not quite. Their eyes held the same glow as the Zenthari. Their skin shimmered faintly. "Mom, Dad," Lena whispered. They turned. They smiled. But they did not speak. Instead, their thoughts flowed into her mind like water. We were sent, Vera's voice echoed in the vision, chosen by both our peoples to carry the spark into a new age. Humans and Xanthari once shared a bond. Long before the Great Silence, we were one song in two voices. But the Void Weavers broke that song. They made us forget each other. We were the last hope, the first union in 10,000 years. Lena's breath caught. You were spies, no, we were lovers. And we were guardians. We came to Viridia to raise you in peace, away from war, away from prophecy. We wanted you to choose your path freely, but you never told me. Because choice means nothing if it is forced. We hoped you would never need to know. We hoped the Weavers had forgotten us. Tears fell from Lena's eyes. They were warm. They turned to light as they hit the sand. Then the vision shifted. She saw her parents standing on a hill, watching the sky as black ships appeared. Not Xanthari, but jagged, twisted things that swallowed light. The Void Weavers had found them. Her father pushed her into the tunnels. Her mother kissed her forehead and whispered, "The spark is yours now." Then they ran toward the ships to draw them away. Lena fell to her knees in the vision. "No, they gave their lives so you could live," Vera's voice said softly. "Not as victims, as warriors of love." The light faded. Lena stood alone in the heart chamber, trembling. But the trembling was different now. It was not fear. It was power waking up. For the first time, she did not feel like an orphan. She felt like a continuation. Days turned into a rhythm. Lena trained. Not with weapons, but with presence. She learned to calm storms with her breath, to heal broken circuits with a touch, to listen to the hum of distant worlds. The spark responded to her emotions. When she was calm, it glowed steady. When she was angry, it flared red. When she remembered her parents, it sang. Vera watched her closely. "You are ready," she said one morning. "For what to face them?" Lena's stomach dropped. "The Void Weavers, they have been tracking us. They know the spark lives. They will not stop until it is extinguished." "Where are they?" "Near the Kalis Belt, a graveyard of dead stars, perfect for their kind." Lena looked out the window. The ship was already turning, heading toward a dark patch in space where no stars shone. "I'm not ready," she said. "You never will be," Vera replied, "but you do not walk alone." The Xanthari fleet gathered behind them. Hundreds of ships, sleek and silent, their hulls gleaming like polished bone. Lena stood on the command deck beside Vera. She wore no armor, only a simple tunic woven with threads of light. As they entered the belt, the temperature dropped. The lights dimmed. Even the ship's hum grew quiet, as if afraid to speak. Then they saw it. A mass of darkness hung in the center of the belt. Not a ship. Not a planet. A wound in space. Tendrils of shadow reached out, curling like smoke. From it came a sound, not noise, but absence. A silence so deep it hurt the ears. The Void Weavers. "They do not speak," Vera said. "They erase. They will try to make you forget who you are, your name, your purpose, your love. Do not listen." Lena closed her eyes. She reached for the spark inside her. It was small but bright, like a candle in a storm. The darkness surged forward. Ships vanished, not destroyed, erased. One moment they were there, the next no trace remained. Not even debris, as if they had never existed. Lena's heart raced. She wanted to run, to hide. But then she remembered her mother's hands in the soil. Her father's laugh. The taste of fresh strawberries from Greenhouse 3. The sound of children singing in the schoolyard. Those things were real. They mattered. She stepped to the front of the deck. She raised her hands and she sang, not with her voice, with her soul. A note rang out, pure, clear, ancient. It cut through the silence like dawn through night. The darkness recoiled. The erased ships flickered back into existence, their crews gasping as if waking from a nightmare. The Weavers shrieked, not with sound, but with rage. They lashed out with tendrils of nothingness. Lena did not flinch. She sang louder. The spark blazed from her chest, spreading across the fleet. Xanthari ships glowed in response. Their weapons did not fire. Instead, they projected light, harmony, memory, hope. The battle was not fought with fire, but with song. Lena felt the Weavers' minds pressing against hers, cold, empty, hungry. They showed her visions. Viridia Prime never existed. Her parents never lived. She was alone, always alone. For a moment she wavered. Then she remembered the Queen kneeling in the dust. You are the bridge. She opened her eyes. The spark flared white-hot. She reached out, not to attack but to remember. She poured every memory she had into the light. Her first steps, her first harvest, her first kiss under the twin moons, the smell of rain on dry earth, the warmth of a shared blanket on a cold night. The weavers could not consume that, because love is not empty. It is full, overflowing. The darkness began to unravel. The wound in space stitched itself shut. The silence broke into echoes of song. When it was over, the Kalis belt was quiet again. But now, stars began to flicker back to life in the distance, as if waking from a long sleep. Lena collapsed. Vera caught her. You did it, Vera whispered. Lena shook her head. We did it. The fleet returned to the ship. The Xanthari did not cheer. They bowed, not just to Lena but to the spark within all living things. In the days that followed, Lena changed. She still missed home. She still cried at night. But she no longer doubted her place. She was not just human, not just Xanthari. She was both, and more. Vera gave her a new task, not to fight but to heal. There were other worlds scarred by the weavers, other people who had forgotten their songs. Lena would go to them, not as a savior, but as a reminder. You will teach them to remember, Vera said. Lena looked at the stars. They no longer felt distant. They felt like family. I will, she said. And as the ship turned toward the next broken world, Lena placed her hand on the window. The spark inside her hummed softly, in time with the heartbeat of the universe. She was no longer running from loss. She was carrying it forward like a seed, like a song, like a promise. The Void Weavers were not gone. They would return. But now the galaxy had a voice, and it would not be silenced again. The ship drifted through the silence between stars. Lena sat cross-legged on the floor of the memory chamber, eyes closed, hands resting on her knees. The spark inside her pulsed like a slow drumbeat. She had learned to listen to it now. It spoke not in words but in feelings, a tug toward warmth, a shiver at approaching shadow, a hum when truth was near. She was no longer the scared girl from Viridia Prime, but she was not yet what she was meant to become. She was in between, and that was okay. Vera entered without sound. Her silver robes shimmered like moonlight on water. You are ready, she said.